Thanks for joining us for Window on the World, a special program right here on KGCS. I'm Brandon Stokes, a student in the Mass Communication Department here at Missouri Southern. In our special program, we explore study abroad opportunities for students here at Missouri Southern. We sit down with Chad Stebbins, the head of the Institute of International Studies. Plus, we take you on a trip to Paris, what it's like to see one of the world's most iconic landmarks, and a different approach to studying abroad. We talk with a student who's traveled all the way from South Korea to study on our campus here in Joplin, Missouri. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment for a look in the window on the world. Welcome back to Window on the World, a special program right here on KGCS. Who better to talk to learn about study abroad opportunities at Missouri Southern than the man in charge of the entire department? Being in Joplin, I think we sometimes forget that there are other places that we can travel to, and joining me today is Dr. Chad Stebbins. He's the director of the Institute of International Studies, and my name is Brandon Stokes. I'm a student here at Missouri Southern. So Dr. Stebbins, I kind of want to start off with, what does the Institute of International Studies do here at Missouri Southern?
Well, we're kind of the clearinghouse for all of the study abroad trips, whether they're short-term trips led by faculty or whether they are for students going abroad for an entire semester. Probably the majority of our students still go on the short-term trips where the faculty members make all the arrangements. The faculty member determines the itinerary, books the flight, books the hotels, determines what type of transportation they're going to use within the country, and kind of is responsible for the students during the entire duration of the trip. But at the same time, more and more students are choosing to go abroad for an entire semester or even an entire year.
And how do those trips differ from the faculty-led trips?
Well, we have about a dozen partner universities throughout the world where a student could go for a semester or even a year, and then we're also a member of the International Student Exchange Program, commonly known as ISEP, and with that program students pay Missouri Southern tuition and room and board, so it's just a matter of them determining when and where they want to study abroad. And then we have other opportunities as well, like the Missouri London program, which is operated jointly by all the universities in the state, and it's either fall or spring semester. So really quite a few opportunities for students to choose from.
And what are some of the kind of pros and cons between ISEP and these Missouri Southern sponsored trips?
Well, I think on the semester abroad, you get really more bang for your buck. In many cases, you can pay what you're already paying here for Missouri Southern tuition, room and board, and then go abroad at no additional expense except for your airfare. And if you have a 2.5 GPA and full-time status, we'll give you a $1,000 grant to apply towards your airfare. And in many cases, that covers it. The one drawback to going abroad for an entire semester would be that it's typically not common for a student to be able to work. So if you have car payments or credit card bills, we advise that you save up for 4 months so that you can meet those obligations while you're abroad.
Okay, and you said that if they go abroad for a semester, they get a $1,000 grant. How do these grants work?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have an international grants committee, and you as a student would apply for a grant. Now, if you're going on one of the short-term trips led by a faculty member, it's a $750 grant applied toward the cost of the trip. And again, you would just need a 2.5 GPA and full-time status. If you're going abroad for a semester, you submit a more formal application of what your goals and ambitions are and why you want to study at this particular destination. And then the grants committee, which consists of the 4 deans and a faculty member from each of the 4 schools, evaluates and votes on the proposals.
And what are some of the benefits that students can get while studying abroad?
Certainly it looks great on a resume. And nationally, only about 1% of university students study abroad. You would think that the percentage would be significantly higher. It is higher for Missouri Southern, but we're still only around 5%. So when you graduate and apply for a job, if you've studied abroad, then you have a competitive advantage over 99% of the other people who might be applying for that same position. Now, why would an employer care that you've studied abroad? Quite a few reasons. The skill set that you develop and would bring back, problem-solving skills, coping, knowing about different cultures, knowing about how to exchange money, currency rates, knowing how to navigate a big city, reading a map. When you went to Paris, I assume you quickly learned how to ride the metro, all over the city. And you come back just really a changed person. You come back just with so much more self-confidence and thinking that you can solve just about any problem.
And Dr. Stebbins, where can students go if they want more information on studying abroad?
Well, two places would be our website, the Institute of International Studies, which can be found off the Missouri Southern homepage. And then probably more easily would just, if you're on Facebook, just simply like MSSU Study Abroad. And we do update that web page or Facebook page 2 or 3 times a week. The trips that are coming up, different grants and scholarship opportunities, and news about students who are currently studying abroad.
All right, Dr. Stebbins, we thank you for joining us today to talk about all of the ways that students can study abroad. And if you'd like more information, just check out the website. We have plenty of things still to come ahead. A view from the Eiffel Tower. We take you underneath and atop one of the world's most iconic landmarks. Plus, a student who traveled from South Korea to the U.S. for his college education shares his story. You're watching Window on the World right here on KGCS. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here at Missouri Southern, we know that the job market is becoming more competitive. And that is why we are constantly working to improve our already outstanding academics for you. We have some of the highest pass rates in the nation for certification exams in respiratory therapy, nursing, teacher education, and accounting. Plus, our emphasis on an international experience gives our graduates a competitive advantage in the global market. Come check out Missouri Southern State University and see where your academic career can take you.
Welcome back to Window on the World. I'm Brandon Stokes, a student here at Missouri Southern. One of the great things about being a college student is the opportunities you have to study abroad. Back in March, I was one of 8 students who went on a faculty-led trip to Paris. We were there for an international media seminar where we heard from a number of media professionals and journalists who've reported all around the world. Of course, we also had some free time to do the traditional touristy things. Our hotel was about 10 blocks from the Eiffel Tower, one of the world's most iconic landmarks. What a sight to see. You can find out more about the next International Media Seminar Study Abroad trip scheduled for March of next year at mssu.edu. Ahead, an international student at Missouri Southern shares his story, why a college student would want to travel from South Korea to the United States to study. Window on the World will be right back. Welcome back to Window on the World right here on KGCS. Now, a different approach to studying abroad. You're about to hear from a student at Missouri Southern who's traveled all the way from South Korea to get his college education.
My name is Kylie Ackerson. I'm here with Tommy Jung. We're going to be learning a little bit of information about him from when he came from South Korea and get a little background information. So how did you choose to come to the United States?
Oh, well, it was definitely because of my, English education. It was very important for me to know English. That way, when I go back to Korea, I could get a job, and that would be very beneficial for me, for my future job career. That's why I came to the United States.
Great. So how long have you been in the United States?
I've been staying here for almost, I think, 11 months. I came here January 2014, so I'm still learning many things, about the United States. Yes.
So during your time here, what have you found that you like the most about the United States?
There are a lot of things that I like about the United States. The gas is really cheaper, so when I drive, I can save a lot of money with that. The food, I think I like the food here. There are a lot of restaurants here I can go to, and there are a lot of really diverse places, a lot of different restaurants, like Chinese restaurant or American restaurant. That's what I like about the United States, and that's what I like about the Joplin as well. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
So since you've been here, what has been your most challenging experience?
English is not my first language. My first mother language is Korean. So when I came here in the U.S. and when I started studying in Missouri Southern, there were a lot of presentation that I had to deal with, and it was definitely challenging for me because I have to speak in English all the time, and there are a lot of audience, so I feel nervous, and I thought it was very challenging to me, but I'm trying my best, to keep it up with my presentations and my classes. So yeah, I think I'm getting better now with all my classes. Yeah.
You seem to be doing a great job. And
yes,
everything,
thank you.
And what other areas have been challenging for you?
Definitely different culture, different food. Well, I would say the culture. Well, I mean, I'm from South Korea, so of course we have a different culture. But since I lived in the Philippines for 5 years, I was able to learn a different culture since I was young. So I didn't really have a problem with that. But the food was very hard for me to adjust, to adapt, because of course the Korean food and the United States. I mean, the food here in the United States are very different. So that was very hard for me to to embrace myself when I came here in the U.S. Yes.
So, what is the general perception of the United States in your home country?
United States is. I mean, we see a lot of movies about the United States. We see a lot of war movies, all things like that. We feel like the United States is a very powerful country. It's one of the really rich country. That is what kind of perception that we have about the U.S. Because definitely United States, the country's goal, their role in this world are very enormously high. So we think that the United States is one of the really biggest country. They have really big power, and one of the really dominant, country. That's kind of like a perception that I think about the United States. Yeah.
So you also agree with these perceptions as
well?
well?
Oh yes, I do agree with it. Yeah, yeah.
So what was the process like to get a visa to come to the United States?
Oh, that was definitely challenging for me because I had to get an interview. I also had to pay a certain money. I believe it was around $100 if I convert it to U.S. dollars. And I had to go to the embassy for a couple of times, and it was very strict. I think one of the reasons was because after 9/11, the security became more intense. That way, that's the reason why it was hard for me to get a visa. And I was very nervous if I failed the interview with the ambassador, I believe, then I will not get a chance to come to the U.S. So at the time, I had some hard time, but I was able to make it, gladly. So I was able to be here, yes.
I'm glad you're able to make it. So what type of interview questions did they ask you?
Oh, they usually ask me, what's the main point, what's the main reason you're going to the U.S., like what I'm going to do there. And they also discussion, like, are you going to leave there? it's an important question, I think, because as a student, I mean, as getting student's visa, we're supposed to not stay there, live there, you know. But I think there are people who wants to live there longer, that, you know. Then of course the government will have a problem with that. So the interviewer asked me those kind of questions, like to know if how long are you gonna study there, and what major you're gonna choose there, and things like that, you know. Just something that has to do with the student visa, you know, or you know, those kind of questions.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what other types of challenges do you face as an international student?
Well, I think there's this one thing that I challenge with myself is that I have to communicate with people in English, which is not my, you know, mother language. You know, that is the one thing that I challenge with myself. But I really met a lot of good friends here, really good professors here, and they'll help me and they try to understand me all the time. So I thought it would be very, very challenging for me, and it does. But it kind of helps me more, you know, like to be like to understand about the the United States more, and to get along with people here since they're very friendly to the international students. So I do have a challenge with myself to speak in English all the time with the people here. But other than that, I think it's okay. I mean, everything's all right. Everything's going good. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
So now we're going to go on to a little more of your educational information.
Yes, sure.
So why did you decide to pursue a college degree in the United States?
I thought it was very important to learn English since we are our society and our world is getting globalized. You know, it is very important for us to learn English. And when I was in Korea. I didn't really like our education system when we learn about the English, because we don't really know, like the professors or teachers don't really teach you how to learn English. They more like to teach you how to read and how to like understand the the grammars, the English grammars. But I think it is more important to really get along with people and communicate with people. I think speaking is really important part of the communication. So I felt coming to the U.S. and getting experience to talk with the American people, that way I can learn English, would be very helpful for me. Yes, and of course, if you know how to speak in English, it will be definitely help me to find a job in the future. We have a lot of big companies like Samsung or LG, you know, those kind of companies, and those kind of companies like require to speak in English. And they will send you like to work like abroad, since the Samsung and LG companies are like they like to expert many things. So English is very important in order to communicate with a lot of other foreigners.
Out of all the schools across the country and even the world,
Yes.
how did you end up at Missouri Southern?
Yes, I was looking for many schools before I came here. I think I was looking up about 10 different schools from the website, and it was definitely easy for me because I don't have any family or relatives who are living in the U.S. So I had to pretty much just look for a school for myself, and that was a challenging for me. The reason I chose Missouri Southern was because the school here had a really good tuition program. Because basically for international students, we have to pay like out of tuition fee program, and it's very expensive. And I was looking for a couple of schools, and really Missouri Southern had the one of really good, like the tuition program that I can study with, and I can save some money as well. So I thought that Missouri Southern would be a great chance for me to study English and learn about different culture. So that's why I decided to come here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you think college life in the United States would be like?
Yeah, I used to see a lot of movies and about the studying in the United States or like college in the U.S. I feel like the people are very outgoing. There are a lot of activities, a lot of sports that I can see, like a basketball or football, and I think I'm really, experiencing all those things. I like to watch football because we don't have like a football in Korea. We do have a soccer, but we don't have a football. So it's a really happy. I'm really happy that I can able to watch a lot of football games here. I think that's kind of a part of the thing that what I experience. studying here in the U.S. So that is a really good thing for me.
So you like the sports and everything in the United
Yes,
States?
I don't know how to play sports, but I like to watch sports, and definitely, I think a lot. I mean, American people are really good in sports. They're very active, and yeah, they're very outgoing, I think. So I like that.
So has college life differed from your expectations?
No, I was expecting that when I come to the United States, I will have a lot of like a presentation. Because I think in Korea, usually when you go to the university, you just sit there and, study with the things that teacher or professors ask you to do, and just get prepared with the exams. But I feel like here in the U.S., I felt even before studying in the U.S. would be more like you need to know how to communicate with people. You need a lot of presentation. You need to participate well for the class, and that's what I was expecting. And like I expected, yeah, I would say like the class style is more different than the Korea, but I was already expecting it. So I'm kind of still looking forward myself to study well with a different class style. So I think it's going well, yeah.
So you say the class style is different. How is a South Korean class style different from the United States?
Yes, see, in South Korea, usually the professor or the teachers ask you just to memorize like a certain type of things, and you have to like memorize, and then you have to get a test with that, and then you get a grade, and they will be pretty much like the grade of throughout your class. But here in the U.S., you more like to participate well and give your opinions and give your presentation about your thoughts, and those kind of things are very different. I prefer the class style in the U.S. than the class style in Korea, because I feel like in Korea, the teachers are just trying to just tell you what to do, but you don't really get a lot of things to learn about, like different information or different knowledge. It's just more like since the teacher asks you to do these things, then you'll just follow it, So you don't really have a time to really talk about what you think about, the certain topic, or like try to elaborate what you really learn about, certain topics. So I prefer the class style in the U.S. than Korea.
So like in the United States, it's kind of more hands-on and you actually get to delve more into it rather than
Yes,
just memorizing.
yes, that's what I like about here.
I see.
Yeah.
So what are your plans post-graduation?
I'll be going back to Korea. All the male Koreans are supposed to join the Army or Navy or Air Force, the military program for over 2 years. So of course that'll be another challenging thing for me to do. So after I graduate, I have to go back to Korea and join the military. It's a mandatory system, so we are required to do that. So I'll be going to military, and after that, I can able to get a job. Because if I don't go to the military system, it will be definitely hard for me to get a job. Because a lot of jobs, or the companies will require to go to the military first before they hire people. Or else they will get a kind of a problem with the government. So I'll be going to the military first and get a job in Korea.
That's pretty intense. So how long will you have to be in the military for before you get a job?
Usually it's 2 years. Yeah. So it's very challenging, and there are a lot of really hard things to experience, I guess. And not all the Korean, the male wants to go to the military, but because our circumstance with North Korea, it is required for all the Korean male to join the military once their age get to 19 years old. So I'll be going to military right after I graduate. Yeah, I'm still trying like a postpone my I kind of delayed my military program, and my classmates from middle school are already in the military. So I kind of feel like it's time for me to go to military right after I graduate. Yes.
Wow. So what type of career do you have in mind when you're finished with the military?
Yes, I was hoping to go to like the work for like a mass communication, like company or like the broadcasting station. So my major is communication. So I would like to pursue to stick. I mean, I'm pretty much just stick with my major. Like what I really learned, and that way, when I get a job with something that has to do with my major, it could help me more, to understand and to really work well, So I'll be hopefully working for a broadcasting station in the future, or like advertisement companies like that, like commercial companies, things like that. So that's what I'm hoping for right now.
It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, I hope so.
So how does not having a social security number affect how you support yourself while you're in the United States?
Yes, see, that's a lot of problems that a lot of international students are having a problem with. Since we don't have a social security number, we can't get jobs here, The only the way we can get jobs is from the school, but since there are a lot of people who are trying to get jobs here, it's definitely challenging. And so there are a couple people I think that who are trying to get jobs like off campus, which is illegal, and that's kind of a challenging thing for students because not all international students have money, in order to support themselves. So usually their parents support the international students. Our parents support our parents support us, but still that's not really. It could be very helpful, but we still need a lot of money, in order to support ourselves. So it's pretty unfortunate that a lot of students try to get jobs off campus illegally, and things like that. So that's kind of a hard thing for international students are facing with right now.
That sounds like it'd be pretty tough.
Yeah.
So do you feel that since you've been in the United States, do you feel that you've changed at all?
Yes, I feel like I'm being more Americanized. My personality is getting different in a way. I think when I was in Korea, I was very shy. I didn't really like to talk a lot, and I just didn't know really how to get along well with friends and get along with classmates and like that. But when I came here, I became more active and more outgoing with friends, and I like to talk with people, and I like to communicate with people. So those kind of things really changed me since I came here in the U.S., I think.
Well, that's great. Hopefully
Yes.
those are traits that you can bring with you for your future career.
Right.
And Tommy, I would like to thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
And
thank you so much.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you. You too.
We hope you enjoyed our window on the world right here on KGCS. You can find out more information on a number of study abroad trips at mssu.edu. Until next time, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again at the same time on this station.